People ask me in comments all the time, Scott, how do you EQ guitars? And honestly, the first answer that comes to my head is with EQ. Alright, now seriously, today in this video, I am going to give you the keys to the Lamborghini, the secret to the sauce, a workflow based in logic and lots of experience. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact steps I pretty much always follow when I'm EQing guitars, be they black metal, death metal, grindcore, doom metal, grandmacore, crabcore, whatever core metal, whatever. Just guitars. Now, as I show you these steps here, I'm going to use the Aurora DSP Laboga Diamond Sound demonstration track that I created. And that's because Dan, again, has graciously sponsored this video. I got to give Dan big thumbs up. He's been supporting the channel a lot lately. He's a really awesome guy. Aurora DSP have very good, high-quality plugins that are very affordable. I've left a link down to Aurora DSP in the description. Go check it out. And obviously, we're going to have a big, long look at how Diamond Sound here sounds in this demo track as I EQ the guitar tones. Remember, the goal of EQ is not to make the guitar sound good. You already should have pretty much a great guitar tone. The goal of EQ is to kind of remove the things that are making it a bit cloudy, a bit honky, some of the really nasty whistles, and we're going to try and bring out the guitar tone that you've already created as much as possible with EQ. So remember, EQing guitar is not about taking a shitty guitar tone and making it sound good. We're taking an already good guitar tone and making it sound better. So that's step 0. Make sure you have a good guitar tone. If you have no idea how to do that, you can use my presets if you want to use them on my website, or you can take the Metal Guitar Tone Workshop, which is also on my website. So now that you have step 0 out of the way, we need to move to step 1. Let's just remind ourselves what we're working with here. Okay, that tone has no EQ on it whatsoever. It's just the preset that I created for Diamond Sound. Already sounds really good. You like it, yeah? That's the importance of step 0. So step 1, we are going to do some filtering, all right? I'm actually going to use the stock EQ plugin here in Cubase just to prove that you can do this with any plugin, all right? So step 1 is filtering. You might know it as high pass, low pass, or high cut, low cut. It's kind of interchangeable, although the lexicon would mean different things. It really doesn't matter. But anyway, you want to start with filtering. And the reason why you want to start with filtering is you want to get the guitar out of places that it just should not be to begin with. You want to start containing it, because if you have a guitar tone that is too broadband, meaning that it's in every freaking frequency spot, it's going to fight with everything else in every frequency spot, and it's probably going to win, and that would be a bad thing. So the very first, easiest thing to do is we start bringing the guitar in, we start containing it, and getting it out of the way of areas that it just literally does not need to be. So that's going to be a high pass and a low pass, or a low cut and a high cut, all right? And again, I'm just using Frequency 2, which is a stock plugin that comes with Cubase. I like to do a 48 dB per octave slope, which is just how much slope you have on the frequency. You know, this is a very gradual slope of 12. This is a much more steep slope. And the reason why I do that is because I go to 100 hertz. I pretty much, very rarely do I really change this, but at 100 hertz, I pretty much do my filter, because the guitar tone has nothing of value, in my opinion, below like 92 hertz. It literally doesn't matter. You have a bass guitar for a reason. Let the bass guitar do bass things. That's like, I don't even think about this. I don't even care. Now, when it comes to the high cut or low pass, I will start very commonly at 7K. All right, and this is where 7K is right here. It's not automatic that I'm going to leave it at 7K. All right, maybe I can go 8K or 8.5K, but you don't need a lot of this upper high-end, literally white noise or hiss that's coming from the IR or the speaker that you're using. It's just contributing noise, and it's not doing anything musical up there. You don't need it up there. Plus, your vocals are up here, your cymbals are up here. Okay, and it's just going to be getting in the way of these other instruments. So these are the very first two steps, or the one singular step that you're going to do, which is filtering. So if we solo what we have right now and just have a listen, there's not going to be a huge difference here. Not shattering here, but we're just getting it out of the way so the other instruments can come through. Now, the second step, we're going to look at the upper mid-range first. The reason that we look at the upper mids first and mid-range in general is that mid-range and upper mid-range, we're very sensitive to that as humans. And everything that we do in this range is going to have a major impact on how we interpret the sound. The second reason for doing this is that when you clean up the gunk and you make things more clear and you get like the guitar tone from being under a pillow, you're going to be able to much more accurately understand what the high end and the low end of your guitar tone is doing. You might think right off the gate like a guitar tone is not bright enough, and you'll start cranking all the brightness, and then you'll scoop the mids, and then you're going to be like, what happened? And more often than not, you'll go back down up to the brightness and kind of like bring it back down a little bit. Why do that? Well, you can just go to mid-range first, clean up the gunk that's making it cloudy, muddy, maybe a bit honky, and then you'll be able to really hear what's happening in the upper range and the lower range. Now, I consider upper mid-range to be like 700 hertz all the way up to like 3K. And there's a number of different things that we're going to find here. We're going to find honkiness, cloudiness, and we could even start finding some resonance issues, all right? So let's have a look. Let's just see. I'm going to engage number 5 here, and let's have a listen. Great example of just like a honky, muddy frequency that doesn't need to be there. And you'll notice the dynamic of the tone has actually changed as well. Where it sounded a bit more mid-range, honky, forward, we just do this one little dip here, and all of a sudden, oh, it cleans up, and oh, we have a lot more high-end information perceptibly, all right? So it's very important to start with the upper mids. Let's see if we can find anything else up here. So we are finding a resonance, and that's fine. We can take care of it. Let's listen to what this sounds like. Cool. So like a metallic honk clang that we're getting rid of. Now, let's double check what this sounds like in the context of everything. I'm actually going to turn the leads off because we're not focusing on that right now. Definite improvement. One thing I'll tell you right away also, definitely a good idea to do this with music playing. I'm obviously soloing this for demonstration purposes, but if I was doing this in real life, I would be doing it with the music playing. And that's why you'll notice that when I'm doing this in solo, you can still hear the attenuations that I'm doing. You can still hear the honkiness and stuff, but I just know through experience that when the mix is playing, you're not going to hear this. So listen. It's still faintly there, you can still hear it, but when the music is playing, it's not there. You're also going to notice when you start attacking the mid-range that where you had placed the guitars in volume, more than likely you're going to have to turn them up because we are reducing a lot of mid-range energy that is eating headroom, all right? So we can actually turn the guitars louder here. Excellent. All right, so I can already see this and I can already hear it, so I'm gonna go ahead and attack it anyway. There is another, oops, let's put that back. There is another little bit of a honky spike happening, and I'll just go ahead and take care of that right now while we're looking at it. So number 7, bring this over. So just to give you an example of what we've done with just 3 simple EQ moves. Sounds pretty cool. Step 3 now is going to be the low mids, as you were expecting. So we're going upper mids to low mids. Now, pretty much arbitrarily, I typically like to start with my secret EQ move, and that is generally going to be 400 hertz minus 2 dB, and we'll see what happens. So I'll have it disengaged, and then I'll engage it as we play. You'll notice that not only did the guitar tone become a bit more clear, but it's almost like the bass guitar went up in 2 dB of loudness. All right, this is why it's vitally important to really attack the mid-range first in this instance, so we can really start to understand what balance changes we may need to do as well. So after the 400 hertz cut here, typically now this is where things get a little genre dependent and tuning dependent. I'm basically doing black metal and standard E here. There's not going to be a lot of low end. After this, I probably would just opt to use the Andy Sneap C4 chick, but let's see what we can do here. Okay, around 230, 250, not unexpected. You might be able to bring a little bump down, or alternatively, you could turn this into a dynamic EQ, which you can do here with the stock plugin as well. Cool, so now we've tightened up the guitar tone a little bit. Definitely not muddy anymore. It's coming through loud and clear, which leads us to our last step. And the last step, of course, is killing nasty resonances. All right, so we need to load another EQ because we don't have enough here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll just load literally another instance of frequency, no big deal. And now we're going to focus primarily on trying to find nasty, ugly whistles. Now, word of warning here. Do not waste your time trying to find and hunt every single nasty whistle. Guitar tones are full of whistles. You're never going to get rid of them all. All you're going to do is you're going to have 9 points of surgical EQ, and then you're going to be like, why does my guitar tone sound weak and like shit? That's why. The object here is just to find 1 or 2 or 3 at the most that are just egregious, really annoying, that are really stabbing you in the ear and are really making the guitar tone sound shitty. And that's what we're going to do here. Let's just take all these off so I don't get confused. We'll start with number 6. All right, number 6. Now, is what we do. We press play. Make a generally narrow bell here and go hunting. Okay, and that's pretty much your guitar tone. Again, don't go crazy. You don't have to pull them down as much as you think. You notice I'm doing it with the music playing because it's a habit at this point. But this is a really important reason to have the music playing, is you just want to pull it down just to where the point where it's not a problem anymore, and that's it. The ironic thing is that these things need to exist in the guitar tone to some degree in order for it to sound like a guitar tone. Otherwise, it sounds like a washy, just sterile mess. So let's do a quick A/B of where we started, which was no EQ. I'm going to press play. There you go, and that's how you EQ a guitar tone. From here on, you could do the Andy Sneap C4 trick or go ahead and do your lead guitars. In fact, let's just fucking do the lead guitars right now, because lead guitars are a little bit different. Lead guitars, it's even more important that they don't need to be full broadband, because there's a lot, you already have the rhythm guitars in there, right? And the lead guitars and melody guitars have a different purpose, which is for the melody. So in this particular instance, you can do two things. You can do the filtering here at the low end, right? We could do our filter at 100, same thing. Now you can do one of two things. You can do a peak or bell, or you can do a low shelf. For me, a low shelf makes more sense. And basically, you just want to pull the shelf down 3 or 4 dB like this, and bringing it to about 500 hertz. And we're just basically thinning out the low end that doesn't need to be there with the lead guitar. So here are the leads with EQ off. We're thinning them out a little bit, because all we care about is getting the upper mids and the upper frequencies in there. At this point now, it's the same process. Upper mids, low mids, kill any harshness. Let's go number 5 here, see what we got. Let's go ahead and do our filter while we're up here. Filtering, same deal, around the 7K or 8, whatever. It doesn't need to be exact, 7K. And there's a whistle here that I'm hearing, and it's very annoying. Let's go ahead and grab this. All right, now let's put this in context with everything. Okay, and see, it's the same exact process. I did the exact same thing, basically. I just thinned out the low end more with the oh my god, low shelf. Now there's one extra thing I'm going to show you today. I just can't stop being awesome. It's Saturday. Let's just do it. So sometimes what I do is I will start doing a coloring EQ on my rhythm guitars. I've been doing this for a long time. This is nothing new, nothing out of the ordinary. And I'm actually just going to use Aurora DSP's 510 EQ. It's an API style EQ, which is what I like to do. All right. This is coloring. At this point, I'm maybe adding some vibe or some spice to it to get more of a present sound that I like. All right, I'm not really necessarily looking to fix anything. So let's have a look here. Still have a bad whistle here. Number 4. All right, let's keep going. Turn the leads off. So it's very slight, just color to the high end, maybe boosting the presence a little bit. I'm not fixing any problems here. And obviously, this is why I do this after I do my regular EQ regime, because if I didn't, I would just be accentuating problems that exist in the guitar tone instead of making things sound more interesting and more colorful. So that's it. 4 steps, no black magic. Step 1, filtering. Step 2, upper mid. Step 3, low mids, middle mids. Step 4, kill the resonances. That's literally all there is to it. That is the workflow that I've been using for years. That works. Again, no secrets, just a good workflow with logic. And now it's up to you to put it to practice. So practice a lot, practice every day, practice every weekend, practice EQing. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.